Hello, adventurers. I'm your storyteller, Miss Samantha. And after our quick break last week, I'm back with a brand new tale that you might not have heard before. Today we're reading Vasilissa the Fair, a classic Russian fairy tale. So settle in, cuddle up, and prepare to be whisked away. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a merchant and his family. They were blessed with a beautiful daughter and named her Vasilissa. Sadly, when Vasilissa was only 8 years old, her mother fell very ill. On her last night, she called her little girl close and gave her a small doll wrapped up in a blanket. "Listen, Vasilissa," her mother whispered. "Take care of this doll and keep it secret. If anything bad ever happens, give the doll something to eat and ask it for help. It will guide you. Remember, my blessing is always with you." Then she kissed Vasilissa and passed away. Vasilissa's father mourned his wife for many years, but eventually decided to remarry. His new wife was a widow with 2 daughters about Vasilissa's age, but soon after the wedding, it was clear that this stepmother was not a kind woman at all. She and her daughters were jealous of Vasilissa's beauty, so they made her do all the hardest chores, hoping that she'd become tired, thin, and dull from the work. Vasilissa, however, had her doll to help her. Every night, Vasilissa would sneak a bit of her dinner into her room for the doll and say, "Dear doll, please eat and help me in my need. My stepmother and stepsisters are trying to make my life miserable." The doll would come to life, eat, and then offer Vasilissa advice. It even helped her finish all the hard chores. Thanks to her doll, Vasilissa always looked healthy and beautiful, while her cruel stepsisters grew thinner and angrier every day. When Vasilissa was old enough to marry, many young men came to ask for her hand, but her stepmother would always say she can't marry before her stepsisters. And out of spite, the stepmother would then give Vasilissa even more work. One day, when Vasilissa's father went away on business, her stepmother moved them all to a new house by a deep, dark forest. In that forest was the hut of Baba Yaga, a terrible witch who gobbled up anyone who dared to come near. The stepmother kept sending Vasilissa on errands into the forest, hoping that Baba Yaga would find her, but each time the doll would guide her safely home. One evening, the stepmother gave all 3 girls some work to do and handed them a single candle. The oldest girl was sewing, the middle was knitting, and Vasilissa was weaving. Just as they got busy, one of the stepsisters accidentally snuffed out the candle. "Oops," she said. "Now someone will have to go to Baba Yaga's to ask for a light." "My pins give me enough light," said the first sister. "And my knitting needles glow just fine," said the second sister. "Vasilissa, you go," they both said and pushed her outside. Vasilissa was frightened, but she took her doll out of her pocket, fed it a little bit of bread, and said, "Dear doll, I'm sent to Baba Yaga's house for light. I don't know what to do." The doll's eyes sparkled like 2 tiny flames. "Don't be afraid," it said. "As long as you keep me close, no harm will come to you." So Vasilissa put the doll in her pocket, crossed herself, and walked into the forest. As she traveled, 3 riders passed her on horseback. One dressed in white just as dawn broke, one in red as the sun rose, and one in black as night fell. Vasilissa walked all night and arrived at Baba Yaga's hut just as darkness set in. The hut sat in a creepy clearing, surrounded by a fence made of bones and topped with skulls that glowed like lanterns in the dark. Vasilissa was so scared she could barely move. Just then, Baba Yaga came flying in, riding in a giant mortar and steering with a pestle, her wild hair blowing like a storm. "Who's there?" she growled, sniffing at the air. "I smell human flesh." "It's me, grandmother," Vasilissa replied, bowing low. "My stepmother sent me to ask for a light." "Well, well," said Baba Yaga with a glint in her eye. "If you do some work for me, I'll give you a light. If not, I'll eat you up." Baba Yaga took Vasilissa inside and set her to work, giving her enormous chores: clean the house, cook dinner, sweep the yard, and sort a giant bin of wheat from dirt by morning. Exhausted and frightened, Vasilissa fed her doll that night and cried, "Help me, doll, I can't do this alone." "Don't worry, Vasilissa," the doll said. "Get some rest. By morning, everything will be done." And in the morning, the work was finished. Every seed sorted, the yard swept, and dinner cooked. Baba Yaga came back, surprised and annoyed that Vasilissa had done everything perfectly. This happened again the next day, and again the day after that. Baba Yaga's curiosity got the better of her. "How do you manage to do all I ask, girl?" she demanded. "My mother's blessing helps me," Vasilissa replied. "Blessings?" Baba Yaga hissed. "Get out! I want nothing to do with blessed people." She shoved a burning skull into Vasilissa's hands. "Take this light back to your family," she shouted. Vasilissa hurried home, her way lit by the skull's eerie glow. When she arrived, her stepmother and her stepsisters cried for joy, because in Vasilissa's absence, they hadn't been able to strike a single flame, leaving them in darkness for days. However, they soon grew fearful as the skull's eyes blazed so fiercely that it burned her wicked stepmother and stepsisters to ashes. Finally free, Vasilissa took her doll and set off to make her own way in the world. The end. Wow. With the help of her mother's blessing and a magic doll, Vasilissa outsmarted her wicked stepmother and the Baba Yaga. If you had a magic doll that could do chores for you, what would you ask it to do? Let me know by joining us on Facebook. And if you want to support our channel, check out the Storytime shop linked in the description below. As always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more classic fairy tales. I'll see you next Friday. Bye for now.